A soldier buys new bed sheets, then hydrogen peroxide, then a 96-gallon container. His wife is missing, but he never called 911. Here's what the police found under the mattress. On August 6, 2023, a supermarket camera in Anchorage, Alaska, recorded a 21-year-old United States Army soldier buying new bed sheets. Later that same day, he returned for hydrogen peroxide, a spray bottle, and other cleaning products. That evening, another camera captured him, purchasing a wheeled container capable of holding 96 gallons. The man was Zarihas Hildebrand. According to the story he soon gave police, his wife had vanished earlier that day. Soraya Hildebrand had supposedly left their apartment for a restaurant less than 1 mile away. She had no vehicle. She had left her telephone behind, and she had not been seen since. Yet Zarihas did not immediately report her missing. He spent the day replacing bedding and buying equipment that investigators would later connect to a very different account. Soraya Barney Hildebrand was 21 years old. She had recently moved from Utah to Alaska to build a future with her husband. In 2021, she enlisted in the National Guard and trained as a combat medic. She also worked at a restaurant and took college classes. Friends and relatives described her as hardworking, affectionate, and deeply loved by the people around her. Alaska was not really her home. Soraya remained in frequent contact with her mother, Meredith, and her closest friend in Anchorage, Marie Wenz. Marie was accustomed to hearing from her throughout the day. Long silences were unusual. Soraya met Zarihas during military training. They married in December 2022 after knowing each other for less than a year, then settled into an apartment near Mockingbird Drive. On Saturday, August 5th, Soraya organized a night out for Zarihas' 21st birthday. The husband and wife left the celebrations and returned home in a rideshare during the early hours of Sunday. A few hours later, still Sunday morning, Zarihas said that his wife left at approximately 10 a.m. to walk to work. The restaurant was barely 1 mile away. The route crossed an ordinary residential area. He also said she had forgotten her telephone. However, she never arrived. She did not contact her mother. She did not respond to Marie. She did not return home after the shift she was supposedly traveling towards. Zarihas waited through Sunday. He went to his military duties on Monday, and still did not personally initiate a missing person report. Marie eventually called emergency services after Soraya had been silent for roughly 2 days. At first, the case appeared to involve a young woman who had vanished during a short walk. At the restaurant, investigators discovered that her telephone had not remained silent at all. Zarihas told police she left without her telephone. But at approximately 10:45, her manager received a message from Soraya's number saying she would not be coming in. Marie already knew Soraya had considered calling out. The message contained believable information, but it did not prove Soraya had written it. By the time Soraya's mother arrived from Utah, military personnel, police, and volunteers were searching the neighborhood. Meredith Barney helped organize posters. But Zarihas' behavior quickly unsettled her. Zarihas wanted Soraya's surname changed on the posters from Barney to Hildebrand. He asked for Meredith's telephone number to be replaced with his own. Meredith later said he repeatedly found reasons not to distribute posters, visit the police station, or join searches. She also described him as reluctant to let her and another relative move around without him. While Soraya was still officially missing, Zarihas asked one of her friends which belongings should eventually be returned to the family. He mentioned her childhood blankets and wedding ring. Police returned to the apartment to clarify the timeline. They noticed new bed sheets on the kitchen counter, while the original bedding was gone. Zarihas claimed the replacements had been purchased much earlier. Store records would show otherwise. When officers asked to look beneath the bed, Zarihas refused, saying private items underneath would embarrass him. Without a warrant, they could not force the issue. The new bedding, the message from Soraya's cell phone, and the delayed report had changed the investigation. The 1-mile route was no longer its center. Now the apartment was. Police returned with a search warrant. The bedroom appeared to have been put back in order. The bed had been remade. The Pickle Rick toy that Soraya won during the birthday outing was now sitting on top. A closer examination revealed small, reddish-brown marks around the floor and bed frame, along with a mop bucket and cleaning equipment. When investigators lifted the mattress, they found the reason Zarihas had resisted the earlier search. The underside of the mattress was heavily saturated with red DNA material. The staining was extensive enough to preserve an impression from part of the bed frame. Investigators used Blue Star, a chemical that reacts with traces containing hemoglobin. Despite an apparent cleaning attempt, the response was intense. One Anchorage police sergeant described it as among the strongest reactions he had encountered. A detective told the jury that a major event had occurred on the bed. 2 firearms were recovered. So were cleaning products matching items Zarihas bought after Soraya was last seen. Surveillance showed him purchasing new bedding, hydrogen peroxide, and an empty spray bottle at Fred Meyer. That evening, he bought a wheeled 96-gallon container from Lowe's. Cameras recorded the transactions. Officers also found a letter written by Zarihas. In the letter, Zarihas asked that the dogs be cared for and requested that he and Soraya eventually be buried together. He wrote that he had loved Soraya. Elsewhere, he insisted he had no idea what had actually happened to his wife. The letter suggested Zarihas was preparing for an outcome he had not admitted publicly. Police widened the search around the apartment complex. A drone was used to examine areas difficult to search from the ground. Attention turned to a stormwater structure concealed beneath a heavy cover near the couple's home. When officers opened it, they found Soraya inside. The drain extended approximately 15 to 20 feet, and her body was lying in about 2 feet of water. Bedding had been placed inside with her, including material missing from the apartment. Zarihas was arrested, and the investigation became a homicide case. But even after admitting he concealed Soraya, Zarihas continued to deny causing the fatal injury. Investigators returned to the birthday celebration. The group visited Dave & Buster's and several bars before Zarihas became too intoxicated to enter the final venue. Soraya left with him, and the couple traveled home together. After they returned, evidence of Zarihas' affair appeared on Soraya's telephone. He had been exchanging intimate messages and images with a woman named Diane. Zarihas later admitted the affair. He also admitted that screenshots exposing it had been transferred to Soraya's phone. At approximately 2:45 that morning, a neighbor heard what sounded like a firearm discharge from a nearby apartment. Soraya suffered a fatal injury above her left temple. The defense presented a different account. Zarihas said his intoxication left him unable to remember what happened after the couple returned home. He claimed he awoke, discovered the screenshots, and began searching for Soraya. He uncovered her in the bed and saw the injury. He did not call emergency services. He deleted the screenshots from the telephones. He used Soraya's device to contact her workplace. The medical examiner testified the weapon had been discharged from an intermediate distance of roughly 2 to 2.5 feet. Self-inflicted injury was considered unlikely. After approximately 10 hours of deliberation, the jury convicted Zarihas Hildebrand of second-degree murder and tampering with physical evidence. His sentencing was scheduled for October 2026.